I do not support the policy of canceling student debt. If you look at the statistics, people who go to college and get degrees are far, far more likely to leave with high-level jobs that pay far more than what the average Joe is making. I don't understand how canceling the student debt would in any way help the poor when those are people who are working jobs that make far less money than the people who came away with degrees. If anything, the spending habits of the people with those degrees should be treated as exactly that, a personal choice. If they happen to be spending their money in irresponsible ways, then they should take responsibility for that fact. Those student loans could very easily, very well be paid off by those borrowers, given the fact that they are, once again, far more likely to come away from school with jobs that pay well. And so instead of buying a, giant truck or large vehicle that has poor fuel economy, they should look into a smaller vehicle that you can spend less on gas with. They should maybe not drive every single day that they go to work. They should look into alternative options like ride share or public transport, or perhaps even walking if it's an option. They should take a look at the food that they eat and what recreational activities that they're engaging in. They should look at how much they're saving. All of this could serve to spend their money in such a way that allows for them to pay off the loans themselves, because the money exists. It's very much there. It's just a matter of using it intelligently, which I think a lot of these people simply are not, which is why they're agitating around this issue so fervently. In addition to the fact that I think much of the many of the thought leaders who make up the liberal consensus and the progressive consensus tend to be people from this more highly educated aristocratic background. When you have people who make up the intellectual elite in society, the intelligentsia class, making the rules, or being who determines what the policies the Democratic Party or its progressive wing should advocate for, of course, you're going to have at least some policies that benefit them that are going to be marketed as policies that benefit the working class. To me, it makes far more sense to take that aid and, instead of putting it right in the hands of the intelligentsia, put it in the hands of the working class through expanding SNAP, having a universal basic income, making college itself free, as well as trade schools, looking into canceling medical debt and expanding Medicare to cover everyone. There are policies that we can institute that are going to help the working class in this country far more. Decriminalizing drugs, legalizing marijuana. These are all things, cutting the military budget significantly. These are all things that are going to in turn help lower class people. And, having a large scale infrastructure bill would bring back a lot of those low entry, low skill jobs as well, which is a lot of where the working poor are hurting, and the working class more broadly. College is not meant for everybody. And even trade school is not meant for everybody. Some people, they just want to work, and those people deserve a livelihood. So why should the government be subsidizing the debts of people that are making a lot of money as it is? I'll be a little nicer here. I'll be a little nicer. Maybe you got a really stupid degree that's not getting you anywhere and you can't get a job with it. Maybe there could be some system in place to cancel debt for those guys. I have no idea how we would be able to determine such a thing. Maybe there could be some system in place that's like, hey, we're really sorry that you had to take out student loans back before college became entirely free, and we know you got a useless degree, so we're gonna make it right for you and cancel your debt. Everybody else, though, they can suck an egg. Seriously, just pay it your fucking self. I have been saying the words I can't way, way too often in my videos. Or not even just in my videos, just in life. There aren't videos to speak of because of how often I have been saying this in life. And it's not true. When you're depressed, your mind tends to create justifications for why you are continually doing things that reinforce your state of depression, like laying in bed and staring at the wall all the time, or even just saying things that are self-deprecating, which, I mean, in this context, I'm talking about saying things that are self-deprecating, but saying things that are self-deprecating feeds into the loop of saying things that are self-deprecating. Um, it's like a pipeline. You go down it, and it gets more extreme as time goes on, unless you bite that shit in the ass, before it spreads even further. Um, I suppose I'm using some sort of disease analogy now. But I was watching old videos of mine, and I think if I were in another state of mind, I would have been rather stunned because of how seamlessly natural it was for me to communicate ideas that I had, and I did so with a lot of exuberance, energy, in a boisterous way, you could say. Like I was up and at 'em, and I loved what I was doing. Like a lot of these videos, you get that sort of vibe even when I'm not talking about things that are particularly interesting. It's like I'm able to make it endearing because I'm so excited about what I'm talking about. For me, a lot of the bad videos, or a lot of the forgettable ones in retrospect, are the ones where I'm just talking kind of monotone, and there's a lot of different threads of discussion I may be going on, but you can tell psychically, spiritually, that there's not enthusiasm about what I'm saying. I mean, there's some sleepy videos that are aesthetic. I mean, currently I'm incredibly sleepy, but I'm doing this video right now as a testament to myself, as a testament to my ability to still be able to talk unscripted without a series of notes in front of me or any preparation beforehand, and to not belabor the point in doing so. Um, and of course, as I say this, there is noise behind me, but let's try to fight through it. Um, the ever-present anxiety caused by the understanding that other people may be able to hear my bizarre, cantankerous, and overly rambly YouTube videos. I digress. Um, and so, one of the tendencies that I have continually found annoying, in my attempt to resurface on this platform, have been the ums and the uhs, which are things that I've attempted to stamp out of my speech for quite a while now, because if you envision it as a pause, then all of the ums that you're using are basically just periods, and you're extending the periods to the point where it becomes annoying for the viewer, especially if you have a trained ear like me and you value density. Um, the other thing is that saying is actually better than, instead of saying you repeat like a word a bunch of times, or you rephrase the exact same thing a bunch of times because the idea has already been presented. Maybe you need to rehash it in order to wrap up your point at the very end after having summarized it at the beginning, and then, you know, expounded upon it in the middle section, however your video is structured. I like ending a video in a snappy way where I just say like a funny set of words by the end, or I point out a thing and I go, oh, that's there. But there's this sense I've had that I've irreparably damaged myself in some way, and that this is the reason why I can't engage in my hobbies the way that I used to. Of course this is untrue. If I look at recent work I've done, clearly the cognitive stamina is still, well, clearly the cognitive ability is there, but maybe not as much stamina. And I think the reason for this is in large part due to a simple lack of effort on my part. Like, if I'm not remaining consistent in whatever hobby I once regularly engaged in, then of course the longer you're inconsistent, the more that muscle memory you once built up over time, it begins to degrade and degrade and degrade. And if that lack of activity is as a result of something like depression or newfound life circumstances increasing that, then one can easily reinforce that cycle by going, well, actually, I'm not making bad choices. I'm not, being irresponsible here. Actually, I have this broader affliction that is as a result of X, Y, or Z, when the relationship between X, Y, or Z and the actual nature of your behavior ends up being kind of flimsy when you look at it under scrutiny, or it merely contains truth rather than is the truth, which is one of the tricky parts, because when you get caught in justifications that depression is trying to bestow upon you, the more truth that they contain, the more that they're likely to reinforce that depression and then continually, have the ideas reinforce themselves. Like, the more that you don't engage in the positive behaviors, like a hobby like this, the more you're going to believe that you can't, because you've told yourself, well, I can't. When I try it, I do poorly because I believe that I'm going to do poorly. And then the longer that you don't do it and then you try again, of course you're going to do even more poorly because you lack practice. And I think this is the cycle I've gotten myself into. And of course, once I conclude this little diary for myself, I can look back at it and then go, oh, this is the proof that I've actually been fucking up, and I fucked up everything about my brain. And that's why I can't make good videos anymore, because this one is bad. And it's like, yeah, of course this one is bad, because I've never liked making videos like this where I'm analyzing me not doing things whilst doing the thing that I'm talking about not doing, or through doing the thing that I'm talking about not doing. I've always felt like I'm at my best when I'm not having to analyze my own work, or the inconsistencies in my own work, trying to make myself do the thing by talking about the fact that I'm not doing the thing. I feel at my best when I'm actually just doing the thing without these caveats. And so of course, I can look at it and then go, bad. But, like, is that really all that's there? Probably not. And so these are the trains of thought that I need to separate myself from if I am to be actually consistent once again, or more healthy, in general, because I'm doing something that is fulfilling for me, I like doing, that I want to do. And currently, I have been withdrawing from that, not doing it, under a set of presuppositions that, as I mentioned, are flimsy. Like, me frying my brain. I mean, clearly it doesn't seem that fried right now. Or having always been bad when I look to the past and see, well, clearly that wasn't the case either. And so I have to question these assumptions, where they're coming from, and why they're there. Obviously, I'm rusty, but the process of becoming less rusty is going to be a lot less time than the process it took to become good, right?